The first time Mr. Malcolm Reid walked into Eastbridge Community College, the hallways buzzed with a quiet tension. It wasn't because he was new. Professors came and went at this inner-city college, but because he carried himself differently. Tall, sharp-featured, with calm brown eyes and a quiet confidence, Malcolm didn't walk like a man bracing for chaos. He walked like a man who had seen it and survived. Dressed in a dark navy blazer, white shirt, and polished shoes, Malcolm looked out of place in a building filled with flickering lights, chipped tiles, and the slow decay of neglect. But he didn't care about the looks. He came to teach, and to stay. But not everyone welcomed him. Room B17, where Malcolm was assigned to teach Black history and civic thought, had a reputation. Not because of the course, but because of 3 students who treated the classroom like their personal stage. Trent Walker, Derek Sloan, and Chad Morgan, all in their early 20s, entitled, smirking, and dripping with arrogance. They were the loudest voices in the room, the ones who always sat in the back, feet up, mocking everything they didn't understand. Sons of local businessmen who donated just enough to the college to keep their kids from being kicked out for misconduct. And they wore that privilege like armor. The hostility started day one. As Malcolm introduced himself and began writing on the board, Trent muttered just loud enough, "Here we go. Another woke lecture from someone who thinks he knows better." Derek snorted. Should have stayed in his own neighborhood. A laughter followed. But Malcolm didn't flinch. He turned, looked directly at them, and said calmly, "In this class, we speak with respect. Or not at all. You don't have to agree with me. But you will act like adults." The tension only deepened. By the end of that week, Malcolm walked in to find a racial slur carved into his desk, deep and deliberate. On the whiteboard, someone had scrawled, "Go home, you don't belong." The class sat in uneasy silence. Some were shocked. Others looked away. Trent, Derek, and Chad sat with smug grins, arms folded, daring him to react. Malcolm didn't yell. He erased the board, sat at the desk, ran a hand over the carved words, and began the lesson on resistance movements in American history. He didn't report it. He didn't want to give them the satisfaction, but when he got home that night, the anger sat with him like an old enemy. His father had been a bus driver who took insults every day with silent dignity. Malcolm had grown up watching quiet strength in action. He wasn't about to back down now. What he didn't know was that someone else had noticed. That same week, the college was hosting a small fundraiser event for youth scholarships. Nothing major. A few booths, a lecture, some press. But there was one surprise guest who actually showed up. Jason Statham. The actor had been in town filming a low-budget indie project and decided to make good on a promise to visit the community. He arrived low-key. Black leather jacket, jeans, sunglasses, and quietly made his way around the gymnasium. That's when he heard them. In the hallway near the vending machines, Trent's voice echoing, "Bet the guy cries in his car every night. Freakin' clown." Derek chuckled. "Wonder if he's even qualified." Jason paused, drink in hand, and turned slowly. "What was that?" he asked, voice calm but firm. The 3 froze. They hadn't noticed him. Chad scoffed. "It's not your business." Jason stepped closer. "You made it my business. You disrespect someone behind their back. You better be ready to stand behind those words." Derek looked nervous. "Relax. He's just a teacher." Jason's voice dropped. "That teacher has more courage than any of you." They tried to walk past him. He blocked them. "You're going to fix what you did," he said coldly. "You're going to clean that desk, and you're going to apologize. Like men." Trent puffed up. "And what if we don't?" Jason didn't blink. "Then you'll be remembered. Not just as cowards, but as cowards who got publicly put in their place." The hallway had gone silent. A few students had gathered. Even a staff member stood frozen by the stairwell. Jason stepped aside but nodded toward room B17. "Fix it, or you'll carry that shame for the rest of your lives." That afternoon, the 3 students showed up to class early, bucket, cloth, and sandpaper in hand. The classroom was empty except for Mr. Reid, who stood near the windows, quietly grading papers. They said nothing at first, just got to work, scrubbing, cleaning, erasing what they wrote. Malcolm turned slowly. "What's this?" Trent swallowed. "We were wrong about you, about everything." Malcolm didn't smile. He didn't gloat, he just nodded. "Then take your seats. Let's begin again." And they did. From that day forward, the atmosphere in room B17 changed. The snickering stopped. The tension eased. The boys listened, not always agreeing, but no longer mocking. One afternoon, Derek stayed behind after class to ask about Angela Davis. Chad even helped set up a presentation projector. Trent showed up on time. Respect doesn't grow overnight, but seeds had been planted. Mr. Reid stayed. Not because Jason Statham had stepped in, though that moment had mattered, but because he saw something in the broken walls and wounded eyes of that classroom. A spark of change, a hint of redemption, a place where dignity could still win. And when hate met strength, not violencing but strength of character, it didn't stand a chance. In a forgotten corner of the city, a teacher's resolve and a stranger's courage turned humiliation into hope. And it was only the beginning.